Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today's fun fold, I can't figure out which thing jumps out at me first, if it's the designer series paper, the new embossing folder, or the new stamp image in these little dies. So I am just going to show them all to you. We are going to be using the Autumn Leaves bundle that is coming out on September 6th, 2023, and the new Stampin' Up September through December 2023 mini catalog. And it is the Autumn Leaves stamp and the gorgeous dies that come along with it. Look at these sentiment dies. Can you just think of how many times, and this little skinny one here, this really narrow one, could be used on a lot of different stamp sets we have. And it has the veining for the leaves. Oh, it's just a great set. So even though you have leaves, and I had leaves, I did break down and I got this one, and it pairs well with this DSP, the All About Autumn, that's in the suite, and a beautiful realistic stamp designer series paper. Look at the beautiful leaves and the trees, and then it's got some great things like sweater material, antiqued books. We've got some wood grain, and we've got some like a corduroy there, and some leather, all kinds of things. But what's really, really fun about this paper is you turn it over and it's all accented in copper. So look at all those beautiful copper prints there. So this is a real winner of a paper. And I decided to use this really pretty pumpkin pattern here. And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna make two cards, this card already being made, and the next one we're gonna make, and I only used one sheet of this 6x6 paper, because 6x6 paper is great, but it's also a little challenge sometimes of how to use it wisely. So, oh, the other thing is too, look how pretty this new embossing folder here. This is the embossing folder called Distressed Tile 3D, and you'll see I have a couple marks on there, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those. So let's get started with the fun fold. Okay, I started with a 5.5 by 11 sheet of Early Espresso, because that was the color that I saw kind of grounding the shadows in the back behind the pumpkins there. But no matter what you're using, this actually has a little moody mauve in this one here. So I would play around with maybe putting moody mauve here, because you can see the pink hues coming out in this one. So whatever you see kind of jumping out. So we're gonna take that 5.5 inch side and we're gonna put it up at the top of our trimmer. And we're going to, on each side, go in an inch, and we're gonna cut from 1 to 5. Right? Yes. We're going to cut from 1 to 5. Yes. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put the right side on the right side of the cutting groove. We're going to put it at 1. Then I'm going to take my cutting blade, keeping my finger here, and I'm going to go from 1. Now, I want you to be able to see that. I'm going to put the little guide there at 1, and I'm going to go down to 5. So I can close it. I'm at 1 here and 1 here on the left side of the cutting scoring groove, and I'm going to go down to 5. Down to 5. There we go. And then I'm just going to slide this over and now put this right side on the right side of the cutting groove and put it at 1. And because my cutting blade is still at 5, I'm just going to go from 5 up to 1. So up to 1. Okay, there we go. Now I will tell you, I should have changed my blade first, and I do have a little bit, I do need to change that blade. So I'm just going to give a little sanding off of the little pieces there, but honestly, it is my fault. My blade needs change. I was doing a lot of cutting on here. Probably cutting stuff I should have been doing on my guillotine cutter. Okay, so once we have it like this, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our paper so that the 2 cut slits in the paper are on the left side of this groove here. So on the left side, your left hand, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to 1 which is right where we started, and we are going to score using our smaller scoring blade, and we're going to score in between those lines at 1. Okay, so we'll go to 1. Of course, I'm looking at a different angle. So 1, and we're going to go, it's actually from 1 down to 4.5. So 1 down to 4.5 and back up again to 1. And now we're going to slide it over to 2, and we're going to do that again. We're going to go from 1 down to 4.5. Now, of course, those are just the dimensions that are on my trimmer. Okay, if you were doing this on your scoring tool, you would just put it in and score right in between there. Now, the next scoring is going to be at 4, but at that time, at that 4, we're going to be going up off the paper and down off the paper. So at 4, we are going to go off the paper. And I'm just doing a nice there. And then I'm going to lift this up and I'm bring it down to 4.5, which is 1 inch up from here, and we're going to go off. Okay? I'm just going to do that again so I have a nice good score line there. And then the next score line is at 7.5, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to measure it just to be sure. Yep, it's 7.5. So we're going to go over to 7.5. Open up my scoring arm here, and I'm going to go to 7.5, and I'm going to score from the top to the bottom. So score from the whole part there. Alrighty, that is it. So again, we started putting that 5.5 at the top, and from 1 to 5, we went in 1 inch on each side and we cut a slit. Then we turned it and we scored between the slit here. This was 1 inch, then we slid it over to 2 inch. Then we went to 4 and we went up and down, and then we went to 7.5 and we did that score line. So now that gives us this fun mechanism here. Okay, so we'll just show you how you do that. Since this is the piece, the back piece, and then it goes, then these pieces, okay, it goes, this portion here folds back. So you just want to get it to where it's, you have to kind of pull it up a little bit and you'll see that score line. And then once you pull it, it kind of goes into place for you. And then these ones fold here. And then you just, oop. Am I missing a score line? Oh yeah, guess what? I forgot the score line there. I knew it wasn't going right. You also have to, just think of it this way. You have to score at the edge of both of the, slits. Aren't you proud of me? I'm not going back to the drawing board. I'm just fixing my mistake. So make sure you have these two from 1 and the 5. Those have to be done. I was thinking, why is this not working for me? Okay, there we go. So now this portion goes there. And see, now it all comes together there. I'm going to grab my bone folder and just give it some pressure on those score lines that we folded back on. Ooh, what do I got on there? I got some I'm going to use this side. Okay, so now we have that mechanism here. So then it was just a matter of me figuring out what's going to go on here, but you don't have to do that. Ha! So this first piece here that I put here measures 3¼ by 5¼ Now, when you put anything in here, you could put a piece of designer series paper here, a strip, but it needs to be at least 1 inch, because you're going to see this when the card is closed, when they first pull it out of the envelope. Well, I really was taken with how pretty this embossing folder was. So I thought, I think I'm just going to emboss that. So I did something that's going to be, okay, I'm going to put this in here. I just made a 1 inch mark there. And then I'm going to put my embossing folder. I'm going to line it up with that line at the bottom so I know I'm straight right here. And I'm just kind of going in, and then I'm eyeballing that it's hopefully straight there. Now I'm going to do something I normally don't do. When usually using embossing folders, you should always put the bound side in first. I am going to put, okay, well, after I do that, let me get this back in here. I am going to put it in the way I normally don't, and the way that I would probably be not happy if it went that way at class, but I'm going to be putting it through this way into my machine, okay? So I'm gonna put it into my machine with my, I'm not gonna do it under the camera, but I'm gonna use my plate, and I'm gonna put this right on it, and then I put this on top, and then I'm gonna roll it till I hear it go off of this base right here, and then that's only gonna emboss that part that's actually in there. But like I said, normally I wouldn't do this. I'm gonna be very, very careful, paying attention that my embossing folder is actually nice and straight as it goes through, that I don't mangle it. A lot of times we just start doing something and don't pay attention, and then that's when things get mangled. And I have seen a few of those happen. So now you'll see that only that part of the embossing folder was embossed. And that is a really fun way to do this card. Okay, so this is going to be going here. And once I decided on this piece here, because I didn't really have enough of the designer series paper I was using, because I was trying to use one sheet of this pumpkin paper, that's why I decided to come up with some fun thing that you see here. But then when I saw that, I thought, that is just gorgeous. Why can't I just put it here and here and here? And that's what I did. And think how easy that was, because this piece here is 2 3/4 by 3 1/4 high. So 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we can put that piece into the embossing folder. Doesn't matter how we do it. And then these two pieces here are 3/4 by 2 7/8. And we can also put those in the embossing folder. And we'll throw those in the embossing folder. Yes, and we can roll those through the proper way, just like that. So we'll just throw those through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, or whichever machine you have that is working well for you. And now we have those 3 pieces. 1, 2, and our third piece here. There we go. So it's really that vanilla is popping off that espresso, so pretty. And now I'm going to show you. So here, remember, these are 6 by 6 papers. When I cut this piece here was 2 1/4. So the first thing I did was, I knew it was going to be 5 1/4 high. On the piece of the pumpkin paper, I cut off that 3/4 at the bottom. That piece became my piece over here. But since I'm doing this, this one here, I'm just going to use this same sheet here, okay? So we're going to cut this down to 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I have my little trimmer here. So we're going to go to 2 1/4, 2 1/4. There we Actually, I think I'm going to do the 3/4 first. I don't know if I can do 3/4 on here. Well, if this is, okay, then I guess to 3, that would be 3/4, right? Which color did I want to do there? I like this side here to be over there. So I'm going to just turn it, I guess I would turn it this way because I want that. Now look how pretty that is on that side. And the reason I'm doing that is, okay, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. The reason why I'm doing that is because I really liked having all of those colors showing for this portion here. It was just like my preference of having some that color there. Okay, there and there. Okay, and so this has to be cut to 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, oh, what should I do? I need it to be 2 1/4. I really like this pumpkin, so let's see. Excuse me, I'm still fighting my cold. Still fighting off that cold. So this is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. That way I'm going to catch this whole pretty pumpkin here. There we go. And see, this is another piece of a 3/4 that's left if I don't technically like that one. Okay, so those are the pieces that you get from, you get that many pieces from that one 6x6. So you can make at least 2 cards. Okay, so we have all our pieces here. And the thing I'm going to do is glue all these down right now, because if I don't, they're just going to keep moving all around on there. So I'm going to put some glue, especially with embossed paper. You got to get some down in those little grooves. So you just put that in that nice little section there in between all the score lines. And then we're going to put these 2 pieces here and just leave the same amount of space on the top and bottom as it is against 1/8 of an inch against this score line here. And remember, that's 3 1/4 by 2 7/8. So there we go. Pull that down, straighten that out. I love that glue gives us wiggle room, but once it's down, it's down. And you'll notice that your left side's going to line right up with your score line there. So you kind of know where you're at. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to wait till I do some stamping right here before I glue him down. Okay. So we can go ahead and put this in there. Oh, isn't that pretty? Look at that peacock with that copper. I mean, seriously, it's a hard pick using that beautiful copper or using the beautiful printed paper. Darn, darn, darn. Okay, so I'm just getting the same amount of space around inside the 2 score lines and the top and the bottom of the card. And I like it because you saw that whole, these 2 tops of these pumpkins. So you can see how this card's coming together. And then this one, and you see the all distressed here. So we're gonna see which one of these. Let me see. I kind of like this one more because we've got some, oh, we have a leaf in this one, but we have some more of the orange in that one than this one. Oh, that's a hard pick. But you know what? I think I'm gonna take the, then it leaves this like kind of, oh, I don't know. But you see that over there, and it kind of like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Even though, yep, I'm doing it. Because it came off that side. But I think your eye is actually gonna put those 2 pieces of paper together. I think your eye is gonna look at that and see that, so that's cool. Okay, so the thing I did for this focal point is, of course, I used those beautiful leaves in this stamp set here. I love the like distressed look of them. I pulled out the orange pumpkin there, and that is going to be on there. And then I also stamped and die cut garden green, because garden green is one of the colors in there. Okay, so on this one, I used the Autumn Teaches Us That Change Can Be Beautiful with this sentiment die. On this one, I decided to use the I'm Thankful to Have You as a Friend, and I stamped it and die cut it with this. Oh, I love these sentiment labels. Oh, they're so pretty. So the thing about it is you need to close up your card before, hey, you know what we should do? Let's just stamp this. I was writing on here, I'm thankful for all you do. And then I'm going to use my little spot, today and every day. So we're going to do that and put that in there. using these spots from my paper pumpkin on these little tiny words. So let me see, I'm gonna pull that up so I can see the horizon line. And I'm gonna stamp that right in there. Ah, looks like garbage. So I'm going to have to fix that. But see, that's why I didn't want to glue this down. So let me see if there's a piece of vanilla here. Oh, you know what we'll do? Let's just do this for now. I'll fix this after the video, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this down with some temporary adhesive so you can see the look. But honestly, I'm not happy about that. So I have to redo it. But when you go to my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com, right after the YouTube description underneath, you'll see, visit my blog here. When you press that link, you'll go over, you can see this stamped without the smudge. So just make sure you jump over there. I have the different photos over there too. You can see my store, online store underneath the YouTube description and also over on my blog. So as long as you have this closed, you can work on putting your focal point together. So we might just, because see, we have all this room here, we just can't come out on this side. So I would say, let's try this. Let's open it back up. We're gonna put our orange leaf here. That's probably gonna come out here. We'll put the green leaves coming off also. Okay, and then I'm gonna see how this works when it's closed up. You have to go, whoop, is it gonna fit? Yep, it'll fit there. Okay, so let's pop up this orange leaf. The orange leaf fits in there pretty well. It's just you want to make sure when you get that tag in there. And you don't have to worry about where you're putting your dimensionals on here because the tag is going on top of the leaves. You don't have to like stick it under. Well, I guess you have to stick this one under here. And then, yeah, there we go. We'll still be able to do that. Okay, let's take off our little backs of our dimensionals and we can actually put this pretty leaf here, and just as long as it's within, it actually can, it can come over if we wanted it to, but I'm kind of using it as, you know, leaving it where it is. So I'm just putting some dimensionals on the back of our green leaves. Close this up and maybe pop those like that. Oh, I think I don't want it to go, I don't want it to impede on that. So I'm gonna slip it so that it's because we're going to, well, it doesn't really matter if it's going in there because it's never going to close over that. Where is our tag going? So our tag is going to go like this. So we can just go, I think we can just go like this. Let me tuck him up a little bit more. There we go. Because this little mess up here is going to be covered there. So let's get some adhesive on that part of our tag. I just put it on the little half of it because that's the part that's going to be like that, and it's going to stay within the confines of the card. And then, you know what is really fun on this card I loved, and this is from the annual catalog. We have these amazing neutrals adhesive backed sequins, and look at the colors, gold, like a bronzy, and a copper. So that was perfect with the colors in all of the DSPs in this. What was this called again? This is called All About Autumn. So all the beautiful colors in there. So we can actually grab a poker and throw some of these on here. So let's throw a let's throw a copper one, and then a brown one, an espresso one up here, and then a little gold one. There we go. So you've got some fun embellishments there. Oh, I had forgot about these. These are super pretty. And these white ones would be good with some of our Christmas papers as well. So there we go. Fun card there. Look at that. And like I said, I'm just going to fix this little piece here with, oh, do you know what? I could easily fix that, because what I'm going to do, you're going to see that I'm going to use this little tag here, and I'm just going to be able to cover that up and give it elevated off there. It'll give another little bit of fun to that card, but super easy to do. The fold has a focal point, some embellishments there, some pretty designer series paper, a new embossing folder. I mean, what more could you ask for in a great new autumn set? The Autumn Leaves bundle with the All About Autumn DSP, and pair them, even though they have some gems in the suite, pair them with the Neutrals adhesive backed, because these really look pretty with all that autumn paper. Well, thanks for buzzing by, friends.